what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile Scala, with another exciting episode, Mr. Billy Tucci. Episode number 96.
Number 96, 1996. What a year that was. I think 1896 was a good year, too, for this country.
It was a great year.
Great year. Great year. We survived the Great Recession of 1895. And, well, tally ho. Theodore Roosevelt was about to step onto the national stage, wasn't he now?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, we're about to descend into hell.
Yes, descend into hell. And by George, I'll go with these three chaps. How about you?
Oh, definitely. Definitely, friend.
Not even funny. I feel
I'm excited. I mean, I've been, getting private messages and stuff. People like, hey, can you ask this question? Can you ask that question? I'm like, guys could just join the live chat and ask any questions that you want. And if we get to it, hopefully we can get to them. But everyone's pumped about this book. Dude, they love the movies. They love the book. It was awesome because Chuck, the other night actually kind of gave like a brief overview of how this all happened. So, and then hearing his involvement, in this whole brand. Everyone's just going buck wild over this now.
It's really cool. And as Chuck had mentioned, this is the first ever licensed crowdfunded comic. Mm-hmm. And they are just kicking ass. I mean, I just love, it's almost like this comic book is like a silver age. It's a return to the silver age, as is those movies. You know what I mean? They're
exactly.
Like war books, you know what I mean? And they hold nothing back, and that's what we love about them. So Niall, please.
Yeah, without further ado, we're going to introduce our guests tonight. We've got Chuck Dixon, Graham Nolan, Richard Meyer, aka your boy Zach. So let's welcome them to the show. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hey.
It's so nice to have you guys here. Graham, welcome back. Chuck, welcome back. We've had you on as well. And for the first time, Zach, welcome to the show, man.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Oh, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So tonight's the night, gentlemen. We get into it. Let's crack this egg. Let's crack this egg. So, who even starts here? I just want to jump into it, Billy. I hope you don't mind.
No, please go. My throat hurts anyway.
How did this book come to be?
Well, I was talking with Sly, and he insists I call him Sly. I'm not name dropping here. I was talking with him. He was bouncing ideas off me about Expendables 4, how to change up the plot line and all that stuff. And, just talking. And he said, there's this movie I'd love to make, Expendables Go To Hell, but nobody would greenlight it. And I said, well, what's the plot? And he goes, well, the Expendables go to hell. Literally. They die and they go to hell and they fight Satan. I'm like, well, that'd make a hell of a comic book. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't for a while till I got to know Richard a little better and realized he's the #1 Expendables fan in the world. But I thought, well, there's not a better fit here. So I approached Sly and I told him, Richard's history about his service to his country and how he's a crowdfunding king, and he could make this happen and make it a super premium comic project. And he said, go ahead and talk to him. So I called Richard and I said, you better sit down when I tell you this. and I waited till he sat down and I told him. And apparently from what I learned today is he thought I meant an Expendables-like comic at first, not the actual Expendables. And I don't think it's till I mentioned the Stallone's name that he realized, wait a minute, he's talking about the actual movie Expendables, doing a comic book with them. And I think by the end of the week we had pages scripted, and Graham had done some art, so it got off the ground really fast.
Wow! So when did this actually start? How long has this been in the making?
Like September, and toward the end of September, I think.
Oh wow! So this really is moving. This is flying.
Yeah.
Oh. That's freaking fantastic. And Zach, if you don't mind me asking you, how big of a fan are you of Expendables?
Well, this morning we were talking and Chuck brought up an idea for a perk. And then I literally reached under my seat and I've had these novelty Lee Christmas throwing knives in my car for 10 years. I'm a huge fan. It came out basically right after I got off of active duty, so I saw the first one in the theaters. I've seen all of them in the theaters. Probably seen the first one 50 times, the second one 30 times, and the third one 3 times. I absolutely love this franchise. I always thought it was basically Team 7 made into a movie, and that's Chuck's miniseries. He did 3 of them for Wildstorm. So when I first came out, I was like, oh, they made a Team 7 movie. So I've been following it. I follow all the news, and we were trying to get John Carter because it was kind of unclear who had the rights, or because it's public domain, but 2 different companies do comics with. So we were trying to get that. We couldn't get it. We found out it was actually parceled out already. And then he hit me up later that day, and I was still kind of bummed. So I misheard it, and I thought he was pitching me something like the Expendables. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Let's talk more about that. And he's like, no, it is the Expendables. And you ever see like Private Ryan where the mortars land and they have the audio go all wonky? Well, that's kind of what happened to me in real life. And since this is people keep saying like you got a license, but technically it's not a license. It's Stallone has the license, and basically he's got the and he just said, you're like, hey, you guys do it. So it's literally A to B to C. We don't have to go through corporate legal or any of these things. It's just got the thumbs up, and Chuck sends him stuff as we're producing to get his reaction, and this thing started very quickly within days.
Yeah, and then we've got the extremely talented, one of the best artists, Billy. You could probably learn something from Graham Nolan involved into this. I honestly, to me, this is like I look at everything he's doing. I'm like, wow, this is just perfect. Like a with Graham's style. The Expendables. What they're doing, the action. And Zach, knowing your background and everything that you're into, I mean, this is like the perfect meld of just a creative team. But let me ask you, Zach and Chuck, I mean, was like, oh man, we got to get Graham on board on this.
Oh yeah, I think Richard will agree. He's the first guy we thought of.
Graham came aboard so quickly that I don't remember there being a second where he wasn't aboard.
Yeah. He pretty much it was either the same day or the following day.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, I think Chuck called me and or we were talking. He says, "What are you working on right now?" I said, "Well, I think I just finished up something, and I was actually looking for something." He says, "Well, this is on the down low, but would you be interested in doing the something with the Expendables?" And I'm like, I love those movies.
It's like 80s action and all the best, action adventure guys just right in one.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you what though, Chuck and I have worked together about 35 years now. We've done a lot of projects. This is the hardest project I've ever done.
Yeah, I did not go easy on you.
But it's also very gratifying because it pushes me. It stretches me and challenges me. It's just overwhelming reference. There's one panel. And it's Barney and Audie Murphy, and they turn around and they're greeted by an Assyrian war elephant with archers on them, and then a cadre of warriors from different eras running towards them. So, I got to look up a Roman centurion. I got to look up, a Japanese samurai, and and that's just the one panel, But there it is.
Yeah.
There it is,
sick, bro.
That's so awesome. That's incredible. When you guys were creating this, if you don't mind me asking really quick, do the panels and everything, were you guys sending the whole script and everything over to Graham to figure everything out, or did you guys have everything kind of, almost like storyboard in a way for him?
No,
this was there was so much excitement that Graham started before there was even close to a finished script. We were doing it 5 pages at a time.
That's incredible.
We knew the direction we were going in, and I knew how it was going to end. So, I was confident in the way we did it. And then it sort of evolved organically because, Richard wrote some of these, what we call tangent chapters featuring solo adventures as some of the Expendables get separated. And, he contributed that material as well as contributing what I think is the heart of the story. He said, we really need to bring in the Billy the Kid character from the second film, you know, because Barney would run into him in hell, and it would revisit that whole scene where Barney feels guilty for him dying, and it really formed the emotional through line of the entire story.
Now, actually, Saggy Bones brings up a question. Something I was thinking about. Who's the colorist and the letterist on the book?
The colorist is Dan Brown.
Okay, because the colors are amazing. Do you guys have your letterists lined up?
Yeah, we've got one, and I think we're going to actually have two of them on the project.
Nice.
So it'll be someone I've worked with before, and then someone that Graham's worked with. Since we got basically an A story and then a kind of a B and a C and a D, probably that'll also help, you know, kind of separate it. Okay, now we're on the little side quest.
Very cool. And then Kevin Freer just asked, Graham, did you ink this one digitally? If so, was it on the iPad, and why did you make that decision?
Yes, I did do it digitally, and it is on the iPad Pro. And the decision was because of all the reference that was needed for it. I wanted to try doing it digitally because it made it easier for me to import reference into my pages. So I can't imagine. I don't know how Russ Heath did it. To be honest.
He missed a lot of deadlines.
And I know he built models, you know, like go to the model store and buy models and build them and stuff, you know, and photograph them. But you know, it's a little easier for me in today's day and age to be able to import the reference that I need.
Yeah, isn't the iPad magical? I mean, you know, it's one of the best devices to draw on. I'm telling you, it's awesome.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So Chuck, if you could get into, you know, I'm going to go back to the story here. You know, developing the story and writing it. You know, what's the process having Stallone involved, and you know, maybe going back and forth and bouncing things off him between, you know, you and Zach?
Well, he pretty much just gave me the main premise and just let me run with it. You know, the Expendables wind up in hell. How that happens, how it ends, he wasn't concerned with, but that they, you know, that there's still two sides in hell, and like our slug line says, hell is war, and there's just this eternal battle going on between the damned and I guess what we can call the less damned. But you know, because we got a lot of characters like Audie Murphy. People go, why would Audie Murphy be in hell? Well, because Audie Murphy believes he belongs there. You know, and you can say, well, no, he doesn't, but you can't tell Audie Murphy that. And so we've got you know, good guys and bad guys, and we do have some, you know, shadings of happy endings at the end of this thing. But you know, Sly left it up to me, and his most usual response when I show him the material as we go along is effing awesome, and that's the 2-word response I get. He doesn't say effing. So. No.
Now, can you actually though, and you know, just I want to keep on you for just a second, because you know, was it last night or the night before? You know, you put that video out, but for anyone that hasn't seen that video, can you give us just a brief history of how you even gotten involved with Expendables?
Well, I did an Expendables prequel comic for Dynamite before the first movie came out, and I had to work from the screenplay. There was, you know, the movie wasn't done yet, and I fell in love with the screenplay. I mean, I liked the movie, but I loved the screenplay. There's a lot of differences there, and what really struck me was the patois between the characters, the shorthand. These guys who have been in adverse situations spent a lot of time together, you know, under miserable conditions. And, you know, that's true, you know, guys that do that. I mean, you know, firefighters, cops, you know, soldiers, this happens. So I really loved this unique pattern they had. And when I was finished with the comic, it came out, and I get a call one day, and this woman says, would you hold for a call from Sylvester Stallone? And he gets on the phone, it's him. He says, I love the comic. I love what you did. You really got the franchise. And he goes, would you like to come contribute some rewrites for Expendables 2? I'm like, yeah, right. So I go to a production meeting. If you watch the video, I can go into more detail about the production meeting. But things seemed to go well, but I was stupid. And afterwards, I realized, you know, they didn't want me on the project. The producers didn't want me. And they lowballed me. And, you know, I wasn't going to work for near free. So, but the unusual thing is, Sly didn't forget me. and this is unheard of in Hollywood. They usually forget you the minute they hang up the phone. And he kept trying to find me work. He got me work doing some web content for Lionsgate. He got me work doing dialogue for an Expendables video game, stuff like that. And then over the years, he continued to call every once in a while. I mean, one time he called to bitch about the fact that he didn't get a seat at the Golden Globes. And, I wish I had that conversation on tape. It was hysterical. And then, as I said, he called me about Expendables 4, bounced ideas off me, and we got to talking about this crazy comic book.
Well, that's awesome. And I don't know if this is really Sly Stallone, but going back this book, good stuff straight from the heart of Philly. Sly. Let's hope it's him. Hey, you never know.
Well, we are two Philly guys. So
yeah.
He the first time I talked to him, in 2 minutes into the phone conversation, he's like, "Are you from Philly?" And I guess it's because listening to him, I went right back to Sixth and Jabip. I was talking, Philly again.
So that's awesome. That's
Chuck
awesome.
Dixon,
We got it.
Sylvester Stallone and Bill Garnier, all from Philly.
Yes, Bill Garnier, war hero.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
and Babe Hepburn.
Yeah. Kevin Freer, thanks for the super chat. He says, "I'm gonna have to watch the movies before the book arrives. LOI, backed it solely based on being a fan of these guys." There you go.
All right,
beautiful, beautiful. All right, Billy, man, come on, bro. Sorry, I'm chatting away here.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm drawing. Sly shooting someone in the face right now, shooting a samurai in the face. That's my part of my cover, and there's Audie Murphy with the Thompson. So he's gonna have the Thompson, all right, Chuck?
Yeah, he has the Thompson.
All right, and Sly's using that MP40. Is that what he's gonna use, or can I give him a 45 or something?
It's hell. He can pick up whatever he wants.
Oh, that's so great. Kill them all in hell. I'm gonna have him stabbing a Spartan right here. John Spartan. No, so anyway, somebody someone did have a question posted about the contracts. Now I know this went pretty quick, that you had this great repertoire with Sylvester Stallone. Let's admit it. I mean, he's a motion picture hero. How was it that, okay, well, did you ask, like, well, do we get a contract with this? How do we, because you could get a little starstruck, right? I know I would, or 90% of the people would. How about Richard, getting that contract going for you guys to actually nail the book down?
Oh, sorry, you cut out for a second there. So Chuck and I have worked on projects recently, so we got a real, simple thing down, and so basically that kind of it felt like that got copied over with the Stallone deal. This was just real quick deal with three guys who were all good for it. So we just got to hit the ground running on that moving forward.
Yeah, Richard basically said, "Ask Sly what he wants." I said, "Sly, what do you want?" He goes, "Whatever's fair." And we said, "How about this?" He said, "Fine."
That's cool.
Oh, nice.
Now,
He's a comic book fan, isn't he, though?
Yeah, he is.
He is a comic book fan. That's what I thought. I thought he was, into comics and stuff like that. And now he owns the rights to the publishing, right, for comic books, but not any of the movie.
No, he doesn't own the film rights.
No,
he doesn't own, comic book rights. I don't know what other rights he owns. I don't, I doubt very much he owns the gaming rights and stuff like that. But they usually don't give a crap about the graphic novel rights. You can just ask for them, and they'll always give them to you.
Yeah.
Did you have to explain what crowdfunding was, what Indiegogo was, Zach? Or Chuck, did you explain to him? Like, Zach, have you gotten a chance to speak to him?
No, not yet.
No. Chuck, did you have to explain to him exactly what,
No, he understood. He was getting ready at the time to start his own. He has his own web store. So he understands how all this stuff works. I mean, he has a very active web retail site of his own. So he was cognizant of how this stuff works. And I imagine he Googled Richard, because I kept saying, Richard can make this happen. There's absolutely no question in my mind he can make this happen.
Yeah.
And we'll all be happy. And that, in addition, as I said, talked about Richard's service record. And Sly was impressed with that. And then I don't know. It's weird that we've learned to trust each other. Because he's guided me through a lot of contract stuff that I would have lost on.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, from watching your video the other night. It's neat how, your work on a book, you were able to really pick up on his vision of what he wanted, and it's like you almost became like a friend and a trusted advisor for now, you know, this whole, you know, Expendables, you know, franchise.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, Billy was talking about, you know, being starstruck, but trust me, within 30 seconds of talking to this guy, he's just a guy. You know, there's no attitude at all. You know, and he's just a guy you can really talk to. And we were such a same mindset on, you know, action stories that when we were in the production meeting, we were finishing each other's sentences. It was like Abbott and Costello. We were just back and forth finishing in front of while I'm trying to pitch my ideas, he's filling in the blanks. You know, so you know, it's just a good working relation. It's a lot of fun. You know, and you know, and if you know, when the film thing fell apart, it was like I don't care. I got to hang out with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
You know, that was enough for me. I never had any aspirations to be a screenwriter anyway. I'm a comic book guy.
Yeah. And Sly Stallone says, yo, we got to get a sequel where Richie's Drawbreakers go to hell, and then Expendables got to turn their hats backwards, turn into Truck Show, and go back to hell to go get them. Elbows on the table, Sly.
I suspect that might not be him.
Me too. Now,
the Philly thing was great, though.
That was funny. Graham, now back to, I just want to jump now into some art real quick. Now, did you have to go back and were you like watching the movies again and stuff? How are you, you know, getting everything down for your character designs?
Well, I've got, I started putting together a swipe file of images that I picked up off the internet of the characters. And then I also have some action figures with their costuming, which has been really, really helpful because there's some complicated stuff on there. So like I'll pose the action figures to, you know, with turnarounds and stuff to see, you know, what their flak jackets look like and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and I did watch the movies as soon as, you know, we started on this thing. First thing I did was go back and watch the movies because, you know, I wanted to get, you know, my juices flowing and, you know, kind of figure out the characters a little bit, their body motions and stuff like that.
That's so cool. I'm looking at the art. I have it, you know, up here. It's just, it's really incredible. And I'm going to just bring it back up. Zach, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was saying one of my favorite things about this is buying action figures and DVDs and knowing it's all tax deductible.
Right? Take advantage now. So why do you need that Sherman tank? Research, tax deductible.
Yeah, hell
Great deal. Great deal on eBay. Now, this is like a big deal, guys. This book to me is a big deal, especially for, you know, us. We're, you know, crowdfunding comics. You know, we highlight crowdfunded comic books and things like, you know, along that line. I mean, to me, this is pivotal. This is big, you know, in the independent scene. Zach, what's your take on that?
So this is, I actually have a friend who, I don't think he has the rights anymore, but for about a year or so, he had the rights for a major sci-fi fantasy franchise. And I kept trying to get in him. He's like, oh, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And then I was just like, I was pushing so hard. And he was busy with other projects. He wasn't able to do it. And, you know, I consider, I mean, obviously crowdfunding has existed for about 10 years, but I feel like 2018 is when it really exploded.
Yeah.
So this is one of those deals where, you know, at some point, it's still, I feel like in crowdfunding is still almost like it feels like a little like not legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why aren't you in a store? Why isn't a giant corporation rubber stamping this? And, you know, this is something that everyone knows. And so it's also kind of like, oh, you guys have proven, you know, and I know I'm a legitimate business because suddenly I'm getting these horrible business loan offers like every single day in the mail. People are noticing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Business line of credit from freaking everyone, but turning it down. It's, to me, it's something very exciting in that we can make our own stuff and we can make great stuff on our own, but people are also trusting us. Hey, if we give something, you're gonna. This is like a real thing. It's not like a lemonade stand. It's all on the internet. You know, where's your office? Well, you know, my office is my house. So when we get entrusted with something like this, and it's something that Stallone cares about. I mean, this is obviously, it's not just a business deal. He obviously loves this franchise. It's a huge deal, and I feel like this is the type of thing where we're doing it. It's successful. People are loving it. I know people are going to love it when they get it. And then I feel like this is a next step in legitimacy. Even when started some of the projects they were getting, close to $1 million or over $1 million. I believe Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog, all of his, I think he's done 4 on the same book. I think total they've hit $1 million.
Yeah, they have.
It still becomes like, well, that's like, it's just on a screen somewhere. But people saw Expendables in a theater. They've seen the DVDs at Walmart. So it's like, oh, you're connected to something real in the world that I've seen.
Yeah. And then having, I would say, like, a celebrity of the caliber of, Sylvester Stallone actually saying, yeah, go for it, do crowdfund it, do what you want to do. You've got my support. Here's the story. Let's make it happen. He's got faith in the system, and faith in you guys who know the system, and how to, get these books out there independently.
Well,
the other thing that's so great is that this is a pie with some nice big pieces. It's not being chopped up into all these tiny little things where by the time you get it, it's this little, this little sliver. It's a nice juicy piece for everyone. And we're getting good rates. I've done bonuses for writer and pencilers and inkers on all my previous projects, and it's successful. Everyone's winning. And then we're able to do these things. We're able to use that word pivot. We're able to pivot on a dime. I mean, Chuck brings up a perk. He's like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" We talk about it, 2 emails back and forth, and I just sent him a link for it. We talk about, I don't want to broach things, so there was a lot of people asking for a Stallone autograph, but I was like, "Hey, I'm not going to ask for it." Chuck either saw people are asking, or he just got the idea, and it was like, email to Stallone, approved. We put it up there. 16 hours later, they're all sold out. Yeah. So we can move fast. We can move on a dime. We travel light. We travel fast. Move at night. And it's very exciting. It's got to be exciting to. I'm going to assume it's very exciting to Stallone, who's used to 2, 3, 5 years of development. Then you shoot it for 6 months. You post production for a year, and then your thing got pushed back 6 months. No, it's like he's going to be seeing the book in May. He's going to be getting checks next month, effectively. So it's a real. I feel like it benefits literally everyone in ways that other things don't.
Chuck, you were saying something?
Yeah, historically, comics wise, Graham and Billy will remember this. I compare it to when Dark Horse got the Alien license.
Yeah.
Dark Horse was a nothing company, and they got that license, and it sort of changed all of independent comic book publishing right there on a dime. And people started looking at the indies a little more seriously. And I think that's what we're looking at here. It does legitimize us. Because I got an email from somebody the other day said, well, who's the money behind this? Everybody who contributes.
Yeah.
It's called crowdfunding.
All of you.
Yeah.
It's funny because sorry.
They mentioned 2 former comic book editors that we're familiar with, and they've got backing from the Murdochs. I'm like, well, they needed backup from the Murdochs because they're talentless.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
For God's sakes.
Somebody sent me a link. It was from 2015, and it feels like it's from like 1895, because it's all these people getting angry that a company they heard of was crowdfunding something. They're like, I guess Archie had a prestige line. They wanted to do a miniseries. I don't remember this at all, but I saw this stuff. Their blood was boiling. How dare? And I was like, that benefited everyone. There was no reason for that project to stop. If it doesn't hit its mark, you just try again with a lower mark. But this is one of those things where, we're talking about at some point, some of these perk levels, they are bespoke. They are tailored. We have this autograph line, and those people we designed for only 25 people. They're going to get their own unique version of the book. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to the printers next week, and I'm going to say, tell me, like, what's the Cadillac, with all the bells and whistles that nobody ever buys, and let's get that one. and do 25 books, because we can do it, there, and there's prices for everyone. We got, basically, a graphic novel and a pinup for $30. And then we got, for whales, big spenders, there's everything in between, and everybody wins.
That's great.
It's great. You guys should be very proud of the accomplishments that you've made already in this, and actually getting this project off the ground, and then the response. I mean, Richard, I mean, it's pretty incredible. I mean, you had, of your 7 campaigns, you're close to $1 million on your campaigns already. And right now you guys are hovering, you guys are less than $100 shy of $94,000 in 4 days.
Yeah, it's all been one big blur to me, but I remember it very recently. And it's the excitement. I've been using this phrase. It's like, we got the monopoly on excitement. Here in crowdfunding, 95% of people on our side, about 5% against it. But nobody's talking about the stuff on the shelves. Nobody cares. All of the energy, all the passion is about crowdfunding, because it's so exciting. It seems fake. I actually kind of understand why the people in 2015 were angry, because it's like, no, you don't get to just do stuff. No, there's a rigid thing. You spend 20 years sending in proposals that no one looks at, and then you got to hope some 24-year-old assistant editor never gets mad at you ever. And then you get this tiny little sliver when it comes out a year later.
Yeah.
No, you're going to do it the way we did it. You don't get a giant paycheck 5 weeks after you start the thing. You don't get a simple, easy, open books that I can share with all the business partner. Here's everything on one page.
Yeah, you don't get bonuses.
Yeah, thankfully the gatekeepers haven't figured out a way to, quash this. I mean, they're already working their magic on Amazon, but they haven't been able to figure out a way to stop crowdfunding.
Yeah. And that, they're really, I don't think there is a way to stop it,
Well, I shouldn't say they haven't tried. They've tried.
Oh, yeah.
They've tried, but the fans are, they're the ones keeping this thing going. I mean, you can't get any more personal than this. If you look at the point of view of a fan, where can they go to just go straight to the source, go straight to the creators that they enjoy, pledge that is something they're choosing. I want these items from them. And it's only a set amount of people are going to have them. And most of the time, many of the creators, make themselves accessible to the fans. Yeah. And they make this crowdfunding's become a personal experience. It's about the books and everything, but it's actually, you're getting to know the creators more because they're out there promoting their stuff. They're not behind a big corporation, that's basically has them working in the background and, sending them to conventions, to this and that. They can go on streams like this now, and sit in the chat and talk, or sometimes even get invited to do things. So, crowdfunding, I think we're in the golden age of it. And I think that, we're just going to see it take off more and more. And then with what you guys are doing is really setting some shit in stone. It really is. Like, this is legit. Like, not for nothing, Zach has proven what someone can do crowdfunding, right? Chuck, I mean, everyone, we know your legacy and everything that you've written basically all the comics we love through, I'd have to say, my generation's, childhood. And Graham drew them, as well as Billy, and you guys are showing the same thing, is that you can continue on through crowdfunding. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
What's crazy is the passions too, like you were saying, that they are, the people that are crowdfunding books, and no matter how far, the people that piss into the wind or, yell at windmills and things like that dominate social media. And, people think that they have a far larger following than they really do, because it doesn't cost anything to like something. It doesn't cost anything to follow someone. I think if it cost $1 every time you like someone's idiotic tweet, I bet you they'd have a hell of a lot less tweets. You know what I mean? And they don't understand the reality of the fandom out there. They'll have their little say, they can dominate, they scream, they have the loudest voice, but what is it? Is that then they will attempt, say, their crowdfunded books, or they'll do their mainstream books through Diamond or something like that, and they fail because the audience isn't there.
Yeah.
And that's why, and I'm talking about passions on both sides, because you have the passion of the people that that support you. You know, Zach, I mean, look at the people, look at all that you went through. And then your fans came through and, yeah, I want to rally behind this guy. Why can't this guy put out his own comic book? And they rally behind you. Same thing with you, Chuck. Same thing with Graham. We've all gone through this. And again, if you have some 24-year-old editor who doesn't like you, you know, or they won't bother with you. But then again, the rewards is also is 10 times as much in crowdfunding via, say, Indiegogo, because like you said, right, Zach? I mean, when this campaign ends within 2 weeks to 3 weeks or so, you'll get paid. You will collect that money from the fans that will help you crowdfund these books. And I love the passion on both sides, because I also love the anger and really get off on it. I really do. I chuckle at it. You know what I mean? And they root for books to fail, or they want someone to fail. It's unbelievable how openly and outwardly every single day they're out there trying to destroy someone's livelihood because they voted for someone different for a particular office. And that's really the bottom line.
It's stupid. The bottom line, it's stupid.
It's just showing how miserable their lives are.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're not allowed into their club. Well, guess what? Our club is a hell of a lot bigger than your club. Your club doesn't matter. You don't mean anything. You don't matter. What matters is the 1,096, almost 1,100 backers already in 4 days for this comic. That's who matters, right? I mean, Chuck is frozen?
No.
Oh, Chuck's just standing there.
He's watching TV.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, speaking as a crowdfunding customer, I mean, stuff I've bought through crowdfunding, you know, what other service do you get more the more popular it is? I mean, you know, you go to buy a washing machine, you get a washing machine. If you crowdfunded the washing machine, it'd probably come full of new T-shirts.
Yeah.
So you know, if you're an early adopter and you get in, and you know, well, I'm going to get this book, and then by the time it arrives, it's a box full of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great retail experience.
Yeah, it's stretch goals are one of those things where I kind of forgot about the power of them. I had a couple campaigns that didn't really have any, and that's a huge mistake, because it's so exciting. You say bookmark to someone and they go, eh. But I tell you, you show up with a bookmark that you didn't pay for and a sticker and a little thing, it blows your I got this thing from this guy Narwhal, and I did everything it was like a Russian nesting doll. Everything had something else beneath it. I almost forgot about the book. I remember when I used to be stationed in Europe, they would show like 10 trailers before a movie. You would forget what you were seeing. That's what it's like. Oh, there's a book underneath all this stuff. Wow. Great bonus.
Yeah, the thing about stretch goals, and I've done this myself. There's a stretch goal. Boy, I wish I could get that. And then I start telling all my friends about it, hoping they buy it so that I can get to the stretch goal.
Yeah.
We got Brian Blevins asks, he goes, I may have missed this, but at Chuck Dixon, have you reached out or tried to get Sly to come on to one of these shows to help promote this book live?
No, the most I did was I asked him if he would sign some books, and I promised him we wouldn't be pestering him for the next 30 days with little tasks.
Yeah,
he's doing plenty for us on Instagram. I'm just assuming that he's going to talk to the trade papers about this and get us out into the more general entertainment media, which will be huge. And he's doing what he's doing from his end instead of coming.
Oh yeah, I'm ecstatic. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, everything he's done is all he ever needs to do. If he wants to do something, that's amazing. But the thing that we've gotten is we got to. Geez, there's so many benefits to crowdfunding that you forget about, like numerous of them. We didn't have to go through $20,000 of lawyers over 6 months negotiating the publishing rights. We agreed on a percentage, and boom, we were there. We got encouragement. We got legitimacy from this. Someone willing to take a chance, a guy who's a risk taker, a guy who bet on himself. Everyone knows the story about him getting offered all this money for the first Rocky script. He freaking he lost his dog. He had to sell his dog
Yeah.
He was so poor, and then he had to buy it back for like 10 times as much. I gotta tell you, I'm not. I kind of forgot a lot of my my Catholic upbringing. But if you gouge someone to rebuy their dog, I feel like you're spending some time in purgatory for that one.
I think so.
You'll get it.
And the Expendables aren't saving you. You guys broke 94,000, which is good.
Hey,
Nice. You should
Right.
find out, Chuck, who that was that bought his dog, and you should put him in the book and have him die a really horrible.
well, you know, I mean, you think about that. He had no money, sold his dog. They offered him $250,000 for the screenplay, but he couldn't be in it, and he held out until he could be the lead. I mean, wow. I mean, I don't think I could have done that.
Oh, it would have been so hard, and like that was, you know, that was $250,000 in what, like 1974.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be like $1 million, and I mean, I don't know. Like, you can obviously bet on yourself and lose, but one of the great things about crowdfunding is you can hedge your bets. Like, if you have a, you know, not everything's gonna hit. I've built my business model about some future project being a super failure, like nothing. But if you're new, you can do 5 sample pages. You put it out there, and you can do the simple math. And if it doesn't work out, you just stop, and you got 5 pages to show people if you're trying to get, you know, work at a regular company. So every single, you know, there still hasn't been like a major, like, run away with the money type of situation in comic book crowdfunding, as far as I know. There's some late people, but there's been a couple of tech ones where someone just disappeared with 1 or 2 million. But, you know, there is some risk for the backer, but considering the hit rate, I would consider that to be completely manageable. We're talking about less than 1%, and all of us have been good for all of our stuff, and so have everyone who's gotten the big money. There used to be that accusation, you know, there was a period where a lot of us had made a lot of money, and but we hadn't delivered yet, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna disappear to Aruba." It's like, well, then I can't come back and make money. I had a friend who said, "You made your first million. How are you going to celebrate?" It's like, well, I'm going to go make my second million. That's how I'm going to go celebrate.
There you go.
So let me tell you, Zach, how do you feel at the validation, the victory, huh?
Of which victory?
Which victory? The victory for the past 3 years by George, man.
I mean, I mean, it was a battle. You know, it was crazy. It was insane. I had my head down. It didn't feel like a victory until probably recently. Now you're kind of like, oh yeah, I'm still alive. Okay, that's cool. And so now I look back, and it's like, oh, this is a major success. Oh, there is a future. I had a friend who just he'd been saving an email that I responded to him 2 years ago when things were getting tough, and I said, you know, I always saw this as a short road. I think this is probably it. And he's like, I held on to this because I knew it wasn't a short road, and I'm going to send you this 2 years later. It got dark for a while there, real dark. But then, you know, enough people, other people bet on themselves, you know, because John Malin said, you know, you got to have balls to do this.
Yeah,
people are going to try to attack you. They're going to try to destroy every single part of your life. Meanwhile, they're freaking making 38 grand in New York City, freaking taking out a loan to buy freaking ramen, and we're over here hiring our second accountant. Like, there is serious money to be made out there. And one person that I know you guys have given him his credit several times. I feel like he's like the patron saint of this is Brian Pulido. I don't know him hole in the ground. I don't know if he knows me, but one of the things I got about 1.5 years into this game, and I realized there was this master who had been laying it out. So I went back and I studied him. I studied every single thing about his crowdfunding campaign, and it's amazing. To me, he's like the Sylvester Stallone of crowdfunding, because he went through the collapse. I believe he had to sell some of his properties, bought some back. I think one he always had, and he just built this new career. He's consistent. He's like $250,000 on basically everything. He's great at the stretch goals. He's like great at the excitement thing. That's the one. For a little while, I let things get down to me, and it's like bunker mentality. It's like, no, you got to come out You got to be like RuPaul out there, just dressed up and freaking sparkling, and just get everyone.
You gotta hit you. You gotta hit YouTube. I mean, he's a showman, though. Polito is a showman. He's. We love having him on his show because everyone, it's like, oh, it's like QVC, but it's Chaos Comics QVC, and he goes around. But I mean, he is full immersive, and I'm starting to see some stuff going on Twitter, with conventions and things. He does his own personal convention that you can buy tickets to, and you guys, his fans get to spend the weekend with him, basically.
Yeah,
it's incredible, and tours of the facility and what they're doing. So he's not only making money by doing the crowdfunding, he's also immersing them into real world settings, which is just insane.
So I didn't know that, but it just gave me an idea. I know Billy's into hunting.
Yes.
What if this is an idea? We hunt you, non-lethal, but you get a little preferred.
Most dangerous game.
I think that would be a lot of fun. The most dangerous game with paintball.
Yeah.
Paintball facility, and
maybe rock salt.
We'll make lethal a stretch goal.
There you go.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. You could do the Expendables. You could do the Expendables game.
There you go.
Become a part of the Expendables.
Speaking of stretch goals, I mean, do you guys have anything in mind for any announcements for stretch goals?
So the first 100,000 kind of snuck up on us. Usually you have these for 50, 75. So, this is one of those things where, luckily so many people have done this before. You can, there's some tribal knowledge out there,
Yeah.
Obviously there's the bookmarks. We got trading cards, which I'm very excited about because it's my first trading cards. Then the sticker, Ethan Van Sciver's got this Cyber Frog sticker. I remember he told me he was so excited. It's a sticker. Who cares? What am I, 4? It's on my refrigerator. I see it 10 times a day. It makes me happy every time I see it. Stickers are awesome. So we're going to go stickers. There are some things that might be a stretch goal, or they might be an add-on. I'm looking into dog tags.
That would be cool.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
especially
cool.
if we could get them customizable. Really just the sky's the limit. One of the most exciting things is almost everything that people want is flat, and you just adhere it right to the comic book. It fits in the Gemini mailer or whatever a mailer you're using. And so, like I said, like it increases the thickness like 3 millimeters, but the percentage increase in your excitement is like 500%.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, it's definitely a science, and once you figure it out, sky's the limit with that stuff. And as the campaigns get bigger, you can really get creative with some of these things.
Oh yeah, and the other thing that's so cool is that you get the emails, the DMs, the comments, and people say, "Well, I want this signature on this, or I want this," and you just go, "Okay, I don't have to get this approved. I talked to a couple people, they give the thumbs up. There's no wait. Okay, there we got the new perk up. There it's there for you. You wanted a T-shirt. There's one with the T-shirt.
Nice. I actually like Sleigh Bell. The patches.
That's a patch. That'd be cool.
People talk about the patch. So I'm a little bit of a, I don't know. I hedge my bets. I in some things I wait for other people to do it. I've never done trading cards. Lots of people have. I'm waiting for people. The trading cards, they destroyed me. They ate up everything. Nobody's really said that. They're thin. They're pretty easy to produce. I've never seen someone do a patch before. Yeah, so I might have to be a. People might have to no balls me a couple times on that one.
Look at this. So we did
someone said it already.
And it's not really that expensive. What's expensive if you want to put the Velcro on the back, so guys can wear them on their, their vests or hats or things. But we can give you that number. I'll put you in touch with Deb.
So you're still in the same house, so it didn't cost you the house. So it sounds like it's a good deal. All right. Yeah.
And then another level that you might add that could also get people excited and all is maybe a challenge coin.
Nice.
People love Expendables challenge coin.
Brian Blevins thinks Graham's going to fit in perfectly with the Expendables. Just add yourself in the book.
Yeah, Graham.
Whose biceps are bigger? I want to see you arm wrestle Sly. There you go. That's funny, Mr. Blevins.
So what's next for the Expendables? I mean, I think it'd be a crime if this is the only issue. Are there plans for the sequel?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna speak more slowly so I don't give anything away. But Chuck has unused material that could potentially be adapted, and then we can make things in the future. Going forward, one step at a time. But this is a franchise that, they've got 3 movies, but then they hint at all these other things. We can do prequels, we can do sequels, we can do equals, which is, something that takes place, potentially you could see scenes you saw before from another point of view of someone. So and then of course we can create our own stuff as we have. There's whole new concepts. We played around with the tattoo in Hell. The tattoo is not just a tattoo, and there's a kind of a mythology there. And like I said, it's very easy. I mean, I had this idea of some more material. A Stallone meeting the Grim Reaper. What would he say to him? Would he have words, or would he kind of understand it? And maybe he'll just try to gut punch him right then and there. But this is this crazy thing where something that should be breaking the franchise actually breaks new ground, opens it up.
Right.
Now, do you guys have the freedom to basically continue on with this? Like, can you just continue on different stories and then just kind of maybe reach out for approval, or what? How much freedom do you have with the Expendables now?
Almost entire. It's not really freedom, it's trust.
Yep.
I mean, it's a mutual trust, because I mean, when Sly started Balboa Productions, he optioned a series of novels I write about a character named Levon Cade, and he basically sent me to the lawyers to get a contract signed, and the lawyers gave me all kinds of hell. And I went to him and I said, he said, "Why haven't you signed? It told me you won't sign." I said, "Read this contract. You wouldn't sign a contract like this. I'm practically giving away my children."
Nice.
And he read the contract and he said, "Do you trust me?" And I said, "I have absolutely no reason not to trust you at this point." And he goes, "I'll send you a clean contract. You option it directly to me, Sylvester Stallone." And I did, and he sent me a clean contract. It left me all my rights except, the ones they wanted for the duration. That's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah. Wow.
The 2 movie treatments I mentioned, they're already Sly approved, and I'm sure he's going to be happy with the check he gets. There's no reason why we can't just keep going on until we don't want to do it anymore.
That's incredible.
That's great.
That is.
You guys have really turned a page in crowdfunding history with this book.
I know. I'm kind of curious to see what will follow suit. Because usually once someone breaks a pivotal moment, something else follows.
Well, the thing that Chuck said that Stallone's, I still feel uncomfortable. I want to call him Mr. Stallone, but it also sounds weird because I haven't gotten a thumbs up to call him Sly, so I call him Stallone, which is also kind of overly familiar. But this is just found money, We could have been making him this money 5 years ago, 4, 3, but now it's coming this year. And with other properties, other interesting things, it's going to be, hey, you guys have proven yourself. Hey, why should we not get that money? Because if we give it to the old media, if we give it to the old companies, what are they going to do? They're going to put the most trash artists they have on the interiors. Yeah. They're going to have a nice cover, and it's going to be put to the cheapest crew they can find. Whereas you got, Chuck Dixon, 10 years of experience with this franchise. Me, probably such a big fan, Stallone should be a little bit worried. It's actually weird how much I'm into the Expendables. You got Graham Nolan, who's a legitimate master. I mean, his art is so good. This stuff should be studied because he's putting one line down where anyone else would put 10. It's literally that old experienced samurai. He doesn't have to swing this sword around all these flashy things. He's just going to put it right there. I mean, he drew this plane. I don't even know what type of plane this is. I'm not a World War II expert.
Stuka.
This thing, it looks like you can grab it off the page like something out of like it's 3-dimensional. and yet the lines are very precise, and like he's got a new style where he's doing this thick line that I think really works. It's very exciting. His stuff has always been good. I've never seen it better. I've liked Chuck Dixon. I think Moon Knight might have been the first thing I ever read from him. So since like what, 88, 89?
Yeah.
This is the most fun story he's ever written. Like, it's almost ridiculous how good it is. And you see, if you go to the page, you see other people. Aaron Alfici, he got to do a 2-page summary. Everyone's bringing their A game. I mean, we're working with a living legend, Sylvester Stallone. We're working on a thing that basically everyone in America has at least heard of, and almost everyone has a positive. There's very few people who say Expendables are terrible. Like, it's been on cable a million times. If you've ever been at a hotel or it's been on. They do the marathons like every month or so. They do a marathon. So it's very exciting. It gets everyone keyed up. Everyone's bringing their A game. They're doing stuff better or more fun or both than they've ever done before. And that this formula, this team is available for other, similar things. I know we would knock it out of the park. I think the one thing we have to have is we would have to be actually excited about it. We can definitely be professionals, but that excitement, like there is, I talk about this movie called Boy Wonder. It came out like 10 years ago. It was almost like a ripoff of the Christopher Nolan style, but it was with kind of like a Robin. It was low budget. I saw this, and there was something about this. I was like, there's something about this movie besides it just being good, and I finally realized it. Every single person was excited. You could tell from their performance. You could tell the second cop swilling coffee in the background. They knew it was a good story. Everyone was excited, and I realized, like, excitement's the one thing you can't buy, but you can sell it. You can pay someone $1 million, but you can't pay them to be excited. You can pay someone $10, and if they're I'm excited, and then you get that, you sell that excitement. So this crew, and other people I've worked with, I know we can repeat the success.
And the model's different. I mean, this is more of a partnership. Usually you pay for the license, you pay a flat license fee, and no matter how successful or what a failure the project is, the licensor never sees another dime out of it. In this case, we're partnered up. Fly is a partner with us on this, and he's going to do better than he would do, obviously, at Marvel or DC, whereas Richard said they would just make a crappy comic.
Yeah.
The Expendables sit around the dinner table.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny, if you're like reading chats, they've got some good crossovers.
Oh yeah, and the Expendables. I mean, the crossovers you could do with this franchise, it's just.
Oh yeah.
I just sit and I just think, and I was like, you could cross it over with almost anything action related, and it would make it that much more cool. I don't even want to say, because someone's going to go snap up the rights, so we can't do that. But at some point, I've been talking about this, for we still got a problem with the cooties thing. Oh, you talk to this person, you talk to this person. Because you talk to this person, it means you rubber stamp. No, this is big boy rules. There's a pallet of money sitting in the middle of the field, and there's a stiff breeze, and it's blowing away. Are you going to cross that 50 yards? Some little, I don't know, I don't want to curse.
You can curse. It's a cursing show.
Some little bitch ass is gonna throw some shade at you. Oh, you talk to this person. Okay, so do you want this money or not? Do you want to make money? Do you want to sit there and be poor and miserable, or do you want to come in and for the big win? Because the money's out there. We got normal people with regular jobs, and we got things that are affordable for them. We got premium things for whales. If you know about Las Vegas, you know about whales. They get comp stuff like that. We got stuff for you. We can pivot on a dime. We can bring you what you like. We're going to be respectful to you. We're not going to trash talk you. We're going to deliver. You want something you want a t-shirt? Guess what? There's a t-shirt 6 hours later on there.
Yeah, like you say, this is business. This is a big boys game. You guys are doing some great stuff. I mean, you're going to deliver what the people want, and of course there's going to be people out there that are going to, nitpick, right? the naysayers out there nitpicking or whatnot. It's even incredible, some of the stuff I've been, seeing in, I know, Zach, you're not on Twitter, but, as you're scrolling through, you get lost in that scroll. Same thing with like Facebook. It's funny, a lot of people that, want to see major books like this succeed, they always have something negative to say, which is, I find unbelievable. Something of this nature, something that is independent, just like all the other creators, no matter what you call yourself, you're doing it yourself, you're an independent creator. What you guys are doing is like, it's very inspiring. There should be no negativity towards this. It should only be positive. And, and fortunately, majority of the feedback is positive because, you guys are about to crack 100K in, 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about it is that, always there's going to be haters, and that's fine because that can motivate you as well. But like you said, like, even if you hate me or someone else, copy the model. I take things from people. I was prepping my campaign. I was looking at Doug Tenople's Earthworm Jim. I was looking at Icarus in the Sun. I was looking at Cyberfrog. I was looking at all these things. It's like, what's successful? What do people like? I'm going to do that. So you don't like me, but take what I'm doing. Take what Billy's doing on She. I mean, that thing was like outstanding hit. What are you at on your combined campaigns right now, Billy?
Yeah, we're
almost at 143.
It's incredible. And again, I don't want to make these guys feel bad because I've always heard good things about them. But somebody did all of the sales for Lion Forge for the entire existence of their company. It was 3 years, and it was $600,000. And you're talking, once Billy's been in the crowdfunding game for a little while, but he's really hit his stride. He could potentially do this on a half dozen. He could be at that 600,000 or higher. And that money is out there. I feel bad for the people not going for it, but like I said, I don't feel bad for you if you've got no balls. You're going to take a couple little hits. You're going to get some shit, but there's literally a stack of money just waiting there for you, and you get these big fat slices of pie. And I know at least one guy in New Jersey who likes that.
Hey man, that makes perfect sense, dude. Actually, Chuck, if you don't mind, a huge fan of our show has a question for you. It is not related to this. It is related to the Birds of Prey movie, if you don't mind. I told him I would read it. It says, I think this is it right here. Here we go. At Crowdfunding Comics, what does Chuck think of what Margaret has done with the BOB property, No Oracle, No Heroine, costumes, ultra violent girl gang, Harley overdose, etc.?
They just took the name of the book and slapped it on the movie. I don't know why it isn't just a Harley Quinn movie or a Suicide Squad movie. I don't know what possessed them to put Birds of Prey over it. But I don't get anything out of it, so I don't care, and I'm never going to see it. So. And they credit me in the end credits. I saw a screenshot of the end credits today, and the crime is they didn't credit Jordan Gorfinkel, who was my editor, who actually created the book. He brought me on as a hired hand to help me develop it, but it was all his idea to begin with.
Do you plan on seeing the film?
No.
Okay.
No.
They didn't credit us with Bane either in Dark Rises.
No, they did not.
They got a lot of shit for that.
Yeah, well,
the fans did. And I think now that's why you see it seems like they're making a point of it now in the other movies.
Things are changing on that because I just got to check for story elements they used of mine in the last season of Gotham, and I haven't seen a check like that since Paul Levitz left. So maybe, and apparently a lot of other writers saw checks as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it wasn't a big check, but it was a nice check. So if they give me one of them 3 times a year, 4 times a year, I'll be happy.
Yep. And Hairburn says, they thank you. Great answer, Chuck. Thanks from Hairburn.
All right.
All right. Excellent. So what else is in the pike for you guys? I mean, is there any other projects in the works that you can talk about? Anything crowdfunding related or not?
Well, I still have my Return to Monster Island is still live on Indiegogo.
Nice. We'll get that into the chat. Links to that. Yeah,
somebody had posted it on the live comments there too. And I'm hoping to do the final one in the trilogy, which would be Escape from Monster Island.
Nice. When do you project that coming out?
I have no idea. It depends on how
lie to us.
What's that?
I said, just lie to us. Get us excited.
That's one thing at a time. All my excitement's at the Expendables right now.
I know. I do have to say, I agree with Zach. I like the thick black lines. I like the line work on this. It's ridiculous.
Manly.
It's manly.
Everything about it is good. The panel compositions are amazing. There's this one shot of Sly looking around the corner of a pillar. I just staring at that panel. It's gorgeous. And then just everything about it is just it's Graham, man. He just storytelling genius.
It's kind of cool because I think you were posting some stuff, weren't you? Like you weren't naming what it is, but you're kind of I was like, man, this stuff looks great. And even Billy working on something. I mean, Billy kept his mouth shut. You did. He didn't even tell me.
My whole family thinks that. I don't know, because I'm loud, I guess people think I tell secrets.
Yeah.
And I don't. I never tell secrets.
No, but this is
the hell.
Zach, do you have anything else going on with any of your other properties or whatnot?
So many things. It's not even funny. I mean, me and Chuck have an entire graphic novel that's done. It's drawn, it's colored. And that one's going to be out later this year. That one's called Impossible Stars. It might be combined with another book into a longer book, but I got 2 sci-fi things this year. I got another major creator. We're going to do something with one of his characters probably later this year. I mean, the Expendables is rolling on. I mean, like I said, I've been getting more excited as this becomes, more of a reality. But originally I was like, okay, we're going to get this one, and then I guess that's it. And then, Chuck's like, no, we got the green light. And it's like, okay, so maybe like something like a year or 2 from now, but it looks like we'll probably just be rolling into, some other aspect of it. So I've got, I don't know. Then, I mean, me, Ethan, and John Manlin, we got a project, a jam project we're doing this year. There'll be another Iron Sights this year. There'll be Jawbreakers, the next Jawbreakers, Grand Bazaar. We're already on page 16 of that with Aaron Alfici doing that. And so, I mean, I take the profits, I put some into mutual funds, and then the rest go into future books. So we're like 3 projects in various states of development, and one thing that's already 100% complete.
Well done, bro. Well done.
Chuck, are you still doing books with last time we spoke, is it Ben Hennessy?
No, that kind of fell apart.
Okay.
Ben's going to get back to it. Mike Barron had a book with him that he's continuing. I don't know if it's with another publisher or not. I'm not real clear on that.
Oh, okay. All right, nice. And do you have any other comics or anything? Because I know sometimes you have novels and stuff going on. Anything else in the works?
I got a new Levon Cade novel coming out the end of the month. It's called Levon's Home, and he's back in Alabama, and one of his cousins gets kidnapped by a pedophile ring. So if you read the books, you know how that's going to turn out. And then Gary Quapis and I are in our 6th year of doing the Pellucidar weekly digital strip at EdgarRiceBros.com. And I just got invited by DC to do a couple of 8-pagers for a few of their 80th anniversary books. So I got
fantastic.
I got to work with Scott McDaniel again on Nightwing. And
your Nightwing stuff was great.
I'm working with Kelly Jones for the first time on a Catwoman story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so fun stuff.
Nice. How does it feel to be doing some stuff for DC again?
I think they hired an editor I used to work with at Archie, and I think he didn't know I was on the shit list, and he hired me. And then the story, Scott McDaniel just knocked it out of the park. The story came out so great that the very next day I get a call from the Catwoman editor. You want to do an 8-pager for us? I'm like, yeah, why not?
Well, I don't know if it's just hearsay or whatnot, but I mean, I've heard things that, supposedly that, tunes are changing over there.
I would hope so.
I feel it's about time.
Environment now. I mean,
Yeah, 'cause it's working out so well from the other way, wasn't it?
yeah. Such a raging success that
Yeah.
pissed everybody.
Yeah, they just keep reinventing everything, though. I think they're doing it again now. Restarting the timeline for the umpteenth time.
The reboot.
It's got to be awkward when they do every one of those, best of. And Chuck is in every single one. Best of one. Anytime you go to any list, he's in every single. Sometimes he's in multiple entries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're the longest running writer for the Batman, aren't you?
Yeah, I wrote more Batman than anybody else.
Than anyone else, yeah.
Yeah, because I was like 11 years on Batman and Batman-related titles.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, at one time I was on like 4 Batman-related monthlies at a time.
Nice.
So I had a question about that because I've been doing a lot more back issues lately because, I mean, obviously there's not a lot of good current stuff from the direct market. I will go and read like something, whatever. It's like 1993. Fabian Nicieza is doing like 5 books in 1 month, and I'm reading them. They're good. I'm going back, and there's stuff where you did, like you said, like 3 or 4 books like in a month. What was that like? Because that was I mean, obviously we had Stan Lee doing like 10 or 12, but even, I mean, I still consider like writing to be pretty draining. I mean, that's a heavy workload.
Well, Stan was writing Marvel style, which means he was just filling in the dialogue. I mean, the plot end of it was he called Gene Colan and said, Iron Man meets the Mandarin again. And he would say, how many pages? And that would be the end of the plot section. But nothing against Stan. I'm a big admirer of Stan. He's an incredible guy. But to me, I was just running on enthusiasm. I really wasn't doing much else. And I knew going into the business, you had a window. And I thought, if I can just get a 5-year window, I'd be happy. Well, I got about a 15-year window, so I've been extremely lucky. But, there was a time when DC and Marvel both wanted me, and I was doing 8 monthlies. So I was writing 2 books a week for like almost a year. But I was loving every minute of it. It never seemed like work. And I was getting the kind of encouragement. I mean, when your editor has faith in you, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And they would really be encouraging. And, they knew when to challenge me and when to leave me alone. And it was just a great time. And, I got into it late. I really didn't full-time comic book writing until I was 32. So I was, rested and ready to live it up.
Nice. If you don't mind, we've got some questions here in the chat I'd like to go through. So Star Tiger, Chuck, are you doing a sequel to your Militia series?
It hasn't been discussed. I'm open to it. It was fun.
And then we have Cruder. What does Chuck Dixon think of Tom King's Batman?
Graham, what does Chuck think of Tom King's Batman?
I plead the 5th.
Man, Chuck's a popular guy. Chuck, who's your
Tom King's Batman?
He thinks it's great. Chuck, who's your favorite hero you've ever written or written for?
Punisher, hands down. I love the Punisher. It's a natural fit for me. I don't know why, but I have an affinity for the guy. And, it was the easiest stuff to write. He's the only character I still think of stories for, even though I'm not being paid to do that.
And then this question goes out to everyone. How does everyone feel about the rap Jim Shooter gets from the industry?
Oh, I've been reading the stories, and I've always felt like he was, from the outside looking in, I feel like he was like a godsend. I read the stuff, and I see very hot takes, but he's got old interviews and new interviews, and I always find them to be a wealth of information. I've really tried to emulate a lot of the things he's talked about clarity, and basic heroic storytelling. And I feel like I'm probably a better editor than I'm a writer. I certainly like working with people, and it's a very interesting balancing act. Just to split the story a little bit. When I was in the Marines, we used to do these hikes every week or so, and they were extremely grueling. I mean, we're talking about 100 pounds on your back, no matter what the weather, no matter what the terrain. And the deal was to keep up. And sometimes people would fall back. And one of the most amazing things I ever saw was this. We had a section leader who was basically like a demon. I'd basically call him. Like he was someone out of the Middle Ages, like just like super alpha, incredibly strong, incredibly smart. And this one, I had taken ephedra before it was illegal, so I peaked too early, and then I fell back. And I was expecting, okay, he's going to yell at all of us. And what he did is, in this like 2.5 minutes, he had a completely different reaction to every single person. He knew the person to yell at. He knew the person to just be like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And it was shocking, because when someone gets yelled at next to you, you're okay, I'm going to get yelled at. He fell out, I fell out. But like, I had been doing good recently, so I didn't get yelled at. He was just curious. He's like, "What the hell's up, Meyer? You never fallen out before." I go, "Corporal, I took some ephedra." He's like, "Okay, yeah, okay." So he just nodded like, "Okay, we know you're not going to do that again," and just move on down the line. So I see, Jim Shooter is kind of one of the persona I'll go into if that works with a certain person, and then other people need other people need hands off. Other people need to dig in, and you kind of got to find out. But I know I've always been a huge fan of him as an editor. His writing I wasn't like that much into, but definitely I think he's a huge figure in the industry, and I think he's fantastic for it.
I agree. He saved Marvel from bankruptcy back then, when after the implosion, he came in and he changed Marvel around, and that's amazing.
I can tell you a story. I mean, I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to have a meeting at Marvel the day after Shooter was fired. And there was a big lunch held at a nearby Mexican restaurant. And everybody who was anybody in the comic book industry who could make it to that lunch was there. I mean, Simonson was there, Byrne was there. I mean, everybody was there. And I was standing with Larry Hama because he was my date. My meeting was with him that day. I was supposed to have lunch with him. So I'm standing with Larry, and a bunch of these editors are talking trash about Shooter, just personal stuff, just mean stuff, just nasty stuff, and these are guys who would never have spoken up to Shooter's face. Okay. And Larry's not saying a thing. And finally, one of the editors says to Larry, he says, "You have more reason to dislike Shooter than anybody else here." And I won't get into it, but he did. And he said, "Why aren't you joining in the fun?" Basically pissing on this guy's grave. And Larry said, "He hired me, and I owe him not to trash him. Because he hired me. He made me at this company." And it's like, that's all you really need to know. When it comes right down to it, Shooter, as Graham said, he remade Marvel. He saved Marvel from the trash heap. And you can't take that away from him. You can disagree with his methods. You can disagree with some. I disagree with a lot of his ideas, but I didn't disagree with the success.
Yeah, he was the guy that was needed, whether the hammer or, as like Richard was saying, sometimes you have to soft soap somebody. But in that case, Marvel needed a hammer because the books were shipping late, the rampant reprints, and then he got in there and he put everybody on the clock and said, "We got to get this shit rolling and get everything on time again." And that takes a lot of guts, and it takes a lot of personality to get in people's face to get that done. It was not an option anymore.
And it was herding cats at Marvel. I mean, if you had ever been in the Marvel bullpen in that era, it was a madhouse, an absolute madhouse. I remember seeing two editors coloring a cover, one starting at the bottom and the other one starting at the top, because it had to go out to FedEx that day. Wow. And that was normal. I mean, if you ever have Sergio on again, have him tell you some horror stories about the last minute crap they had to do. And because I remember when I was on Punisher War Journal, Tim Toohey was the editor. Gary Quapis and I handed in an issue 90 days early. And when Tim took it to production, he said nobody would talk to him for weeks. He was like the guy in the union shop who was working too hard.
Wow. Took himself out of a job.
Yeah.
Let's see. Michael Connor, I believe his firing led to Image. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so.
No. So we got Graham. We had a question from Upman. He basically wants to know, how do you continue drawing, actual celebrities, like Sly in the book over and over again and keeping, his look?
Well, Sly's the easiest one. He and Dolph Lundgren are the two easiest ones to draw because they have very prominent features. The hardest one to draw is Billy, which is what's his name? What's the actor? Liam Hemsworth.
Liam Hemsworth.
Because he's just a good-looking guy, So he has you can't put a big nose. You can't have a mouth that kind of droops. You can't. He doesn't have wacky hair. So to me, he's the hardest guy to draw and get right because he's just a very just a handsome guy,
Mm-hmm.
But the other guys, they do have character features. Even Jason Statham, he has a very specific jawline and frontal plane of his face. So those are the kind of things that are, make it a little bit easier once you kind of deconstruct their faces so you don't always have to have reference for it. You could, I could draw Sly, pretty much now just out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But I do have, images on my iPad, and I actually found a company that makes like really high-end sculpts, and I found some pictures of the sculpts, like in front view, side view, that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Those too, so I could move it around, see where his hairline was and stuff like that. So that was very handy as well.
That's neat. And then actually one of the producers of our show, Brian Blevins, who's a moderator when we're live, he says, I'm going to try and hang out with Graham Nolan and Jim Shooter this weekend. Wish me luck. Graham, if you see Brian, run. He's crazy. He's a madman. No, he's a good guy. Brian, take him out to dinner. Buy some steaks. Get some cigars, whatever you want. It's all in the house. It's on the house. It's on Crowdfunding Comics through Brian.
Hey, Nile, can we show the video?
No, it's 13 minutes long.
Oh, it is. Holy
But if Zach wants to, go.
Are you talking about the Chuck
info.
Dixon one from that one?
No, the Indiegogo video.
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a little rambly. I don't edit much, so I decided to edit that one, and then it took me 2 hours to edit out all the uhs and ums, and I realized I just could have re-recorded it like 6 times. But it's okay. I tend to choke on those promotion videos. Everyone always makes fun of me because I don't know. Like I just get so excited. Actually, I never watch the videos on anything I ever give to. So to me, it's just like, I don't even watch this stuff. I just want to get this thing live and start talking to people and start. I'm learning so much about Indiegogo and the options it has. Like I just realized that you don't have to do multiple different entries for different covers. You can actually put the covers as an option for, like, it can just say book, and because you can do that for T-shirts. So I just realized today, it's like, I could have done that. I could have had it cleaner. And I'm learning all these different, tricks of the trade. So it's very exciting.
Yeah. I was gonna play the video last night at the end. I was like, hey, let's watch the video. And I saw it was 13 minutes. I was like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys can go watch it yourself. There's a couple times like because I love like playing the videos. I think it's great, to immerse everyone in that and then build up a little chat. But sometimes, man, if you don't screen it, then you go in and you're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
No offense, just too long for the show.
But I was even thinking of subbing in Chuck's because it's so good. But it's I know. How often do you guys do this show? You do a couple each week?
We average 3 a week. So it could be 3 or 4. Usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays we try to go live. Yeah,
that's great because I'm glad to be on, but I'm getting even more hyped just being on this, just thinking about this incredible phase. I was on it. Me and Chuck were on one with Antonio Bryce earlier today, and I know people are gonna probably bust my balls, but I'm really into Hamilton right now.
I love Hamilton.
I'm reading a lot of like founding fathers stuff, and I forget which one of the founding fathers, but they talked about that they assumed that North America was going to take 1,000 years to traverse. This land was so large that they couldn't even comprehend it, and they gave a ridiculous overestimation. But I feel like that's how it is. We're just we're at this new frontier, and we have no idea. We have no idea what out there. We know it's fertile. We know there are some obstacles out there, but we can find a way through it. So I'm so excited about crowdfunding comics. My only problem right now, is actually capacity.
Yeah.
That I wish I could put out more stuff. That because I'm still learning, so I'm not quite at the point to hire someone full time to work with me, because every day I'd be coming in, hey, forget half the things I told you yesterday. I just learned all this stuff today. But I would like to put out a book every 2 months and deliver every 2 months.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
Every 3 months, Brian does a book, and he's a well-oiled machine. But Brian also, he has a writer. You know what I mean? Like, he plots it, and then he'll co-script it with someone. He's not drawing the book. And and that's how he's able to get him out. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a full-time job. Zach, I mean, right? I mean, Graham, all this, the promotion of it is a full-time job.
Yeah.
And then the fulfillment's a full-time job. And then actually writing a comic is a full-time job, unless you're Chuck, and you could do 15 full-time jobs.
I was wondering that, Billy. No, it's incredible. I mean, if you look even like Murat Michaels, I mean, he's getting to basically a book almost every 2 months. Yeah. So he's getting like right there in a good cycle. So, I mean, you can definitely get there. And it's kind of interesting, you're talking about how hyped you're getting, Zach. And, I get that way too. I get so much energy, usually the day comes out, I'm like, I got to do a show tonight. I'm a little sleepy, blah, blah, blah. But once I get on it and I get talking, I start getting pumped and thinking about everything going on. And then I'm up all night again. And then the whole cycle continues. So sleep is, as I'm sure you guys know, I don't even know what that is anymore. But anywho, it's cool because I think with what you guys are doing, right, and kind of what's going on in crowdfunding, because right now I think we're in like another stage of evolving. There's a lot of shakes up and things going on, and people doing certain things and whatnot, and this just seems like a really positive force coming through. So getting this book out there, and then some of the other stuff you're talking about, I'm hoping that it will also bring in a lot more positivity into crowdfunding. There seems to be a lot of negativity around, but hopefully this will bring in some more positive.
Well, one of the problems is that there are some people who don't have the soft skills required for this. Right. You got to be, have a personality, or at least one person on the team who has a real personality of, almost like a Carney Barker or a Stan Lee or a morning DJ or something like that. I mean, Billy obviously needs to find someone because he's got no personality. He's just a wet mop.
Dud.
Yeah, but and so
my shoulders are sore.
Yeah. At one point, there are some people who I can understand if they're hating. They're like, I can write and I can draw, but I can't do YouTube videos. I don't know this. Find yourself someone who can, get them on that team, and have them just be like, you're our Stan Lee. And move forward on that. But you do need to have some personality. But then again, this is going to sound like a diss, but this guy's great. Is a Sweetcast. I mean,
oh no, we love
that
him.
guy's got the personality of mashed potatoes, but he's a good guy. People like him. He's consistent, and he's increased on the second one. Yeah, it's to say you have to be like a real colorful. It's not exactly true. His deal is that he's friendly. He seems very likable. He seems like a guy you could just hang out with, and he's there. So if you're not the most electrifying person in the world, just do some daily content, talk about your life, because then you become a part of people's lives. Drive home from work, you listen to Sweetcast talking about rearranging his sock drawer. You're like, okay, this is actually he's getting a little crazy right here, but let's go with it.
My wife watches almost exclusively, videos on YouTube, made by, amateurs. And she said that what she likes about them better than produced television is the people are genuine. And you can see that. I mean, there's I'm sure there's some phonies on YouTube, but, when we watch you, Richard, I mean, these are your opinions. We're hearing what's on your mind, what's in your heart. And there's the lack of showmanship makes it endearing.
Yeah, no, the YouTube's addicting, and there's actually a lot of great content on YouTube.
Yeah,
there's a lot of really bad content, and there's a lot of
there has to be. There's so much
misleading content, which is interesting.
Sure.
We've got a couple.
Thank goodness it's not on television.
I know, right?
So
it's the Wild West. We're getting a lot of questions. People asking Chuck and Graham if you guys will be at Terrificon or Baltimore this year.
Not me.
No, not yet. I haven't been. Haven't finalized any of that yet.
Chuck, do you still do conventions?
I don't really go any further than I can drive in a car and get back home the same day.
Gotcha.
Smart.
Zach, do you plan on doing conventions in the future?
I've never really been a convention guy. I never really liked that scene. So I like YouTube. I still love making videos. I had a buddy who kept saying, he's like, you got to choose. Are you a comic book pro or are you YouTube? And I said, yes. He's like, no, I don't think you're the question.
Absolutely. Yeah.
These things feed into each other because I do videos and sometimes I get pissed off and I'm like, I got to outdo this person. I got to show them what's up. And then sometimes they have this new company called Bad Idea, which I love their title. And I just recorded this video like right before I got on here. And I'm really excited about their idea is crazy. And I'm so excited about seeing how they're going to turn out. So I remember at one point people were getting frustrated because Cyberfrog was late. And they're like, well, you're making 3 videos a day. And I was just like, this is all a circle. That's part of his job. That's his job. The videos are his job. The comics job. And it's a big circle. And then you have other people who, Graham, he's doing the, what does a Etruscan chainmail hoop skirt look like? So he's got to go research that for half a day so he can make videos, but then, will promote stuff that he does. I mean, I got to sing Crowdox. It's kind of like backer kit. And so the people who do back Expendables, you're going to get this email that's going to make it like 1 click to plus up. So we could put like Monster Island on there, if you got it, ready to go. So there's all kinds of ways to promote. Chuck was talking about in his video about Expendables. Sylvester Stallone is just a problem solver on the set. This person's sick. You lost this prop. You lost his set. Find a way around. So there's a way to find yourself around to that money just sitting in the middle of a field.
And
do I sound like Malin? I don't think I sound like Malin. Someone just says I sound a lot like Malin. Am I from Michigan? Nope, not Michigan. Sorry to interrupt. I don't know.
It's been on for over an hour and a half, brother.
Yes. I know you're a very busy man. Everyone's busy. I don't know if anyone has any further questions. And one thing I do have is fulfillment. What are you guys going to go through? Are you going to perform your own fulfillment, or are you going to be going through, like a backer kit type thing?
So I'm using Crowdox, which is going to make a list, a better list of all the backers, and then there's going to be some upselling. But as far as the fulfillment of people putting the packages and mailing them out, I'm going to use the same people I've worked with the last 3 campaigns. They've done a great job. They're new at this too, because I had a problem with my Jawbreakers. God King is the first time it went out in some bad packages. And I had asked them before, do you do fulfillment? And they said yes, but they had done, 20 copies of, whatever going out to a comic book store in a giant box. They're learning as well. And they're very enthusiastic because they're seeing the numbers go down from the old, the old media and the old companies, and they're seeing it go up here. So they're in it to win it. They're always suggesting things. Indiegogo's suggesting things. Money talks and bullshit walks. There was about a year of people being afraid to cross that, and now people are coming across and they're winning. And I think in this next year we're going to see a giant stampede because I've said it. I think 2020 is the year that the bottom falls out of the direct market. I think it's been propped up with a bunch of smoke and mirrors, and I'm seeing it when I review new comics. Nobody cares Like I said,
Mhm.
all the excitement is over here in crowdfunding.
Yeah, a good friend of mine who's a retailer with like 8 stores. He said this year has to be better because it couldn't be worse than last year.
Wow.
It's just bad. And this guy's he's a realist. He's a real businessman. He owns more than just comic shops. And he
Mhm.
said it's terrible.
Wow.
That's horrible. They're killing the local comic shops.
Yep.
No one's buying this stuff. My buddy of mine, his comic shop is, he's been in business for 35 years. I mean, he's survived, some of the worst times. And he's like, you really have to, it becomes a science trying to figure out what to order, because they pressure you to order a lot of stuff you don't need and making you think you need to order it. And he's like, half the shit he goes just sits here.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, all the variants and things like that. It's,
Yeah.
like you said, Zach, about how many copies of Captain Marvel #1 are on the shelves still to this day.
Oh yeah, one of the things is I get these emails from retailers, and they have to do this like a rumba or salsa of the unsold stuff. You put it on this shelf, you put it on the table by the door, you put it next to the register. No, it should be out the door. And my stores locally here, I mean, they have basically all transitioned to not relying on comic books.
Exactly.
One of them has they get about 10 per week. The other ones will have more, but we're talking razor thin margins, less than 5 on the shelves.
Yeah.
Because they've realized that they're not being listened to, that these companies have everything but their best interest. And with, obviously I'm not dealing with the stores right now because I'm in a lawsuit. But with the customers who I am dealing with, like I said, we pivot on a dime. What do you want? What are we not selling? What cover do you want? And the thing is also with our variant covers, they don't hurt anyone.
Right.
I can put out 5 variant covers. No one's emotionally blackmailed or, oh, you got to do this to get this. No. So you want 5 covers, you get 5 covers. You want one, you get one. You want one specific one, you get one. And people are saying, hey, we're going to wait. I want your book, but I'm going to wait. They go, when are we seeing Billy's cover? When we were seeing Kelsey's, when are we seeing yours? And I give them some approximate dates. But all these things that like hurt other people, like it's all win. You can do a bunch of variant covers and it doesn't hurt anyone because it's not sold. If they don't order it, then you don't print it. Or, I have one variant cover that it's the sales are pretty low on it. So I might be offering refunds to those people. Say, hey, we're about to cancel this one. Here's your refund. And then there's so many things. And even after 2 years, I just realized the thing about the covers as options, like sizes on a t-shirt, like yesterday. And that'll make things so much more streamlined because I believe you can add things. I got to check, but one of the problems is you have a tier and then once one person backs it, it's locked. You can't change it, which does make sense. But then I realized you can just hide that one, put a new one that's basically the same, but it has that chain.
Yeah.
And then, I put out a signature and it didn't say, and some people thought it was Stallone. They thought they were getting a Stallone signature for like $100. So I had to take that one down and then put it back, a new one up that says Meyer. And you can endlessly adapt. Whereas these poor store owners, they got to predict the future, and they got all this predatory practices. And so everyone who read the writing on the wall a year and a half ago, they transitioned to Magic the Gathering, Funko Pop, old models and things like that. And anyone who relies on comic book direct market sales, they're going to die this year.
Yeah.
Except for,
you think that if you're saying you think that the industry will kind of have like a the bottom fall out and whatnot, and the crowdfunding really take over, but don't you think it's going to be their natural way is going to be like, all right, well, if this guy's so popular, let's entice him over to here, and stuff like that. So you think they're going to start pulling the top creators from crowdfunding to try to survive?
I don't think they're going to be able to afford it.
Exactly. At one point, I was worried about losing some artists I work with that are really good, and then I realized I pay better than all the other.
Yeah.
Like, why would they leave? Yeah, people are getting bonuses for books that sold 2,500 copies. You got to sell 40 or 50,000 to get a bonus over there. And when do you get that bonus? 3 months, 6 months, a year from now? I mean, as except for with with John Malin because I was still kind of figuring out some things. On my last 4 projects, the invoices have been filled as fast as 5 minutes. One time was 5 days because I basically had to do some bookkeeping and talk to some people. You know, I'm on a learning process right now.
Mhm.
But you know, you're going to get paid on time. You're going to get paid as agreed. I still, out of all of these, people, I don't think I've heard one person go, "Oh, I got screwed. So and so never paid me."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking,
Yeah.
I'm with my peers. I haven't heard anyone, say that or any stories about this.
Mhm.
Like, we're not gonna, pay you late 75% of the time, like that guy said from Marvel, that inker. We're not gonna make you wait forever. You know, I got open books. You know, Chuck's gonna see my books, and you can show them to Stallone or whoever. But it's win for everyone. Every single person with the balls to step in can potentially win, and the people who do can win big.
And
Muttman,
my biggest payday last year was Trump's Space Force, and
Mhm.
that was a modest success. But I got biggest page rate of my life.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I see it. I mean, you look at the salaries for most of the mainstream creators, and even the ones that still work in I guess the equivalent of the bullpen nowadays. I mean, with a 500 backers, 400 backers, I mean, these people are making tremendous amount of money, and then the next campaign's doing better and better and better, and they don't need a worldwide recognition. They're doing it with local, basically, like kind of an internet fan based community, and they're hitting crazy numbers.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin is that the big two are lowering rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had. I want to go
of European sales, royalty sales, overseas royalty sales. Those are long gone now.
Yeah, we don't get them anywhere. They didn't send a letter out about that either. They always send me letters.
It just stopped.
It's just stopped. They hoped we would notice.
Well, DC had reissued the Sergeant Rock Lost Battalion book I did, and I think it was the biggest selling war book in 35 years or something.
Yep.
And I contacted Diamond and I wanted to buy some copies, and I think DC canceled it. I think the numbers were low. Now, I didn't even know it was out. One of my friends had to tell me that, oh, look, it's in previews. And I was like, really? I mean, I could help promote that book. And I got to be honest with you, I'm actually going to approach DC that if they cancel this book and don't want to do it, let me license the book and let me reprint it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do think things like that are gonna come out in the next few years. At some point, like I said, the cooties is really wearing off, and that money's just blowing away in the breeze.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I truly believe that cancel culture got killed by Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
He was on its ropes with Dave Chappelle, and
Right.
I think he plunged a sword right through its heart. Everyone's sick of it.
Yeah.
They're sick of being afraid all the time, and there's too much money being lost. So I absolutely do think that what Billy just talked about, I think something like that will happen within the next year. I think it will be much more commonplace 2 years from now. And I'm telling you, this direct market, this thing is freaking over. Like, it's done. So they're going to say, why are we not using the question? Let's find someone, okay, we might not want to work with that guy, but this guy's fine. Let's go with this guy. And it's going to be a really interesting market to when they negotiate that, how they do it, because like I said, there is an aspect of salesmanship and personality that not everyone has, and there's also an aspect of oh, hey, aren't you the guy who called me a Nazi? Yeah, F you. So they've really they did this little crony thing, and it worked kind of for a little while, but nobody remembers being called all kinds of horrible names by a creator. So when those creators eventually do end up on crowdfunding, it's not going to be pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then why should you not have something with the question? Why should you not have something with Martian Manhunter that year? Why, when the whole direct market appears, you're just going to do little storybooks for Barnes and Noble? Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, the East Asia Trading Company. You're going to go hire these people, and they got their ships, and you're going to transport their goods and sell them in new markets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, historically, comics have been here before. The 70s implosion, when sales collapsed, DC actually offered their characters for licensing. Not their top tier characters, but like B-level characters like Jonah Hex and the Blackhawks, stuff like that. But there was no money.
How much could we get with? I don't want to jinx things by naming specific properties, but since you named Jonah Hex, let's just throw something together. You got I got Chuck Dixon in the right. You got Billy Tucci. You got Graham Nolan. Licensed Jonah Hex book. What's that pulling in? 200,000.
They're not even doing the book.
They're not doing it.
1.2 million.
Yeah, and they're not going to have cohesive universes anymore. You used to say, oh, we're going to let it slide, and then 2 more years. No, there's not going to be anything in 2 more years. Like this stuff, it's done. You're going to have Barnes & Noble, you're going to have Amazon, but you're going to need people to sell stuff for you. And eventually they're just going to give in. They're going to call it whatever name they are, but they are going to come to people who are proven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, all right, guys. We try to stand for like an hour and a half. We appreciate everything that you guys have talked to us about, and this is incredible. Like I said, this is an incredible feat that is unraveling here. And you guys are now at $94,212 with 1,100 backers even. And you've got 25 days to go. So if everyone can, if you haven't backed it, seriously, check it out. Back this book. Share it on your Twitter. Share it on your Instagram. Share it on Facebook. Definitely keep this thing moving. Keep the momentum rolling. This is a great thing for crowdfunding. It's a great book for your library, and it's going to be a great book to feed your imagination as you're reading it and enjoying it. And if you're an Expendables fan, now the journeys continue into a far, far deeper place.
And the other thing is that, like I said, this woman saying, "Oh, I'm buying it for my father who loves this franchise."
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the reasons you want to work with franchises like this is that someone who hasn't read a comic since they were 6, if they're a fan of the franchise, you're like, "Oh, what? Cool. Wait, Stallone co-wrote this? Are you freaking kidding me?"
That's cool.
And then you buy it for them, and then that can potentially get them into Jawbreakers, Cyberfrog, Monster Island, all these things. These things can all support each other, and there's no reason why everything's so broken and disconnected now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Right.
Absolutely. And Graham, art is incredible. Chuck, I am so excited to read this story. Zach, with you back in it and everything that you have going on, this is just incredible. And Tucci, we can't wait to see your exclusive cover. Do you have any other exclusive covers that'll be coming out? You don't have to say names, but are there anything else?
Well,
is there anything else?
Billy's, I think he's going to be done fairly soon.
Yeah.
Kelsey might be a while. Kelsey got the worst deal ever. He got the over-designed main cover that has to have a giant area for Stallone's name, a giant area for the title. So he's got I don't think he's enjoying this project this much as the other ones. He just got to do these awesome shoot 'em up, like Italian gangster style. That's what Ironsights. We found some Italian, action movie from the 70s, and I said, draw that. And he had but everyone else got to be more free. Billy just said, "Can I draw this?" Is like, yeah, cool guys shooting things, bad guys getting shot, whatever. Just do it. Make it amazing. So Billy's, I'm estimating. I think he's done in the next week or so.
Yeah.
Kelsey, I would guess probably about 2 weeks. Mine will probably be about 3 weeks. And then there's this one guy who pulled this awesome money move. I don't want to say his name yet. He's going to have he came, and this is what happened. As soon as it came out in success. Chuck, he knows so many people in the industry. They started contacting him, and one guy, and I was like, "I love your stuff. We already got 5 covers." I've done one variant cover before, and so I go, I like to kind of step things up. I want to work with you in the future, but I don't think it's going to work on here. He's like, "That's cool," and then he just did it anyway.
Nice.
He just did fully painted.
What?
And now he's in the catbird seat Now he gets, now I got to kiss the ring to get that thing that I turned down 2 days ago because it's like, oh, I want this. He's like, call me. I was like, oh boy. But that one is so cool that I was like, well, I already set it up so there's 5 for this. So then, okay, so we'll create a new tier for this one. So it'll be outside of the 5. And then Kyle Ritter's got one, but his is also going to be, he was sick. So I wasn't sure if he'd be able to finish it. He's getting better, thank God. So now he's like, okay, I'm ready to go. It's like, okay, great. So yours is also going to kind of be like, I think his might be a black and white, because when people are seeing the art by Graham Nolan, when people are seeing the stuff by Aaron Alfici, they say, I mean, the colors are good, but they go, can you do a black and white version? So I think we might do like a first issue of the black and white version. So again, it's so exciting to just be like a guy and be like, hey, here's a cover. I go, okay, I want it. Everyone's gonna want it. I show it to people. Everyone freaks out. Okay, it's in there. So that one, I mean, it's done, but it's more exciting to like parcel this stuff out. So we might even do that one after the initial 30 days. But I'm going to talk to people like Chuck and we'll agree on that. And it's just going to be very, very exciting.
Awesome.
Great.
Fantastic. Again, Graham, thanks for coming on the show. Chuck, thanks for coming on. Zach, you guys are always welcome back on the show. If you got anything coming on, if you want to chat, feel free to come back on the show. And good luck to you guys. We'll help keep pushing it through our channels and promoting it. And yeah, I'm excited.
I actually got something else to say. So obviously there are some people who put obstacles out there. And there was an article saying that this person only hires people who agree with them. I hire people who want to work. Working with me is not in any way an endorsement of me, things I've said, people I've known. It's just you want to work, you want to get paid, you want to get paid on time, you want to get paid good, you want to possibly get a bonus, you want to possibly. I mean, there are non-financial benefits. I've talked about this, people using Hollywood or, comics as a step stool to Hollywood. I know people in Hollywood, they're not happy. And I know people who have had incredible success in comics, and now the direct market is basically dead. I mean, Graham Nolan and Chuck, they've been to the top of the mountain. They've been in the 1990s creating, Bane and having hundreds of thousands of sales. And I see their excitement at the excitement in crowdfunding. Like they can't wait to show this stuff. I was like, aren't you just you did the Bane, you did Batman? How are you excited to work at like I'm working with Stallone? It's not about you, Zach. It's Stallone. These guys, they're excited. So what I'm saying is, come on over. People are gonna try to talk you out of money. They're gonna try to scare you. This whole cootie touch thing, that stuff needs to go away. This is a business. It's about making money. It's about getting people excited for product. It's about having work. I got people saying, I want to work with you, but I'm scared. Maybe next year. I go, what are you working on now? They go, a couple things. I go, you're not working on anything. The people who are going to hate you are going to hate you next year. They're going to hate you in 2 years.
Yeah, they're going to hate you forever. They'll never stop hating you.
In the direct market, it's done. I mean, how many people have a monthly gig? Consistent. Jonathan Hickman, couple people, that's it.
Yeah.
All that stuff's gone. And they're even keeping you on these short leashes. They'll give you 3 issues in a row and then we're retooling, we're rebooting. Amazingly, you're not off it. They're trying to keep you from money, from influence, from stability. Just come on over. It's like that meme from 10 years ago. Come to the dark side. We have cookies.
There you go.
You want to come on over here.
Yeah, at a couple of different companies I work for that are, nefarious to the left, I'm in charge of making up pseudonyms for people that want to work for us.
Oh, geez.
I'm working with Lance Sterling on a big project right now.
Nice.
An artist we all know and love.
Blevins asks, he's asking us if we can ask if you have any plans to maybe offer up some more Sly Stallone autographs.
No. Well, I don't want to speak over for Chuck, but
No, because that would make the first 25. It would be
exactly. We really one of the things I really learned, especially with YouTube, is there's there's these unspoken rules, and when you break them, the hammer falls down. When we said 25, that's 25.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what insane amount of money we would be offered for extra ones. Now, obviously, if you can somehow get Stallone to sign them, you work that out. He does these conventions every couple of years. One of the reasons his autograph is so expensive is because he doesn't do this a lot. So when we said 25, that's 25. And when I use this phrase, I said, don't sleep on it. I was being literally like, if you're in a certain time zone, you went to sleep and there were 20 and you woke up and they were all gone in an 8-hour period. So there won't be any more autographed books because we said 25 and we got to stick with that.
Now, just blue sky in here. What's a Dolph Lundgren signed book worth?
That was the next one because Dolph.
Yeah, I might be able to make that happen.
I gotta tell you, Dolph is in this book, and Dolph's character Gunnar Jensen takes over this book. When you see the stuff, I feel like Gunnar Jensen is Chuck's spirit animal. There's some stuff I told you like half the bit. When you see Dolph Lundgren jump onto the back of a Valkyrie's winged horse, that's just where it starts to get fun and crazy. So I can absolutely say, I mean, I don't have the Hollywood connections, but I think Chuck knows a couple people over there. But Dolph Lundgren, if we could get him, that would be amazing. I think we could get the same amount. I think we could.
I'll see what I can do on that. But yeah, I mean, in the original screenplay, when I read the original screenplay, I thought, my God, Dolph Lundgren's going to be a superstar when they make this movie. Unfortunately, his role was reduced in the finished product. But I'm sort of coming off of what I read in the screenplay.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating character, and
he's an animal.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, I mean, I could have talked. I know you guys wrap it up, but I could talk for 3 more hours about the Expendables. But one of the most interesting things is like they all have like this like neuroses, especially like if you read like the original script, like Lee Christmas, he was a complete simp. Like he was so neurotic over a breakup, and they kind of made him more like cool guy action. But it was a really interesting original script to see all these eccentricities they have. So there's something about they're these really badass characters, but they're weirdly kind of vulnerable in a lot of ways, and that's why I've always been attracted to this franchise. And I said, this thing is very, very rich. It doesn't have to be, because there was a while there where the third one, it looked like that was it forever. And now supposedly I think they might be doing a spin-off with Jason Statham. I'm not sure if that's 100%. There's some press like within the last week, but it's definitely something that has legs. You can expand this in so many different ways. So if we could get Dolph Lundgren, I'm sure that would also sell out within 24 hours.
Okay, I'll try to make that happen. You heard it here first.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Let it be done.
All right.
And get really pissed if it doesn't happen, everybody.
Oh no!
Go after Zach. No.
It'll be my fault.
It'll be Zach's fault.
It'll be Zach's fault. Don't worry. It'll be Zach's fault.
It had nothing to do with it. Be me.
Well, you guys should be very proud of yourselves. It's just the beginning. May this all be your biggest crowdfunded book by far.
Yes, and thanks for coming out and talking to us
having me a
about
part of it and to play a small part. It's an honor.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I want to thank you guys. I mean, I work from home and things do, like I said, they get dark sometimes, but I mean, I'm energized. I'm ready to, I mean, I've actually, Indiegogo is very excited about working with people. I know they've told me and Ethan we can actually run multiple campaigns.
Fantastic.
And if you start, bringing in enough money for them, I get the idea they'll make exceptions for people. So then you can start stacking these things and getting them out. I mean, I got sci-fi one. I'm ready to launch that thing in a couple months. So it's all very exciting.
Yeah, I don't see why they don't allow that.
Well, they don't want to get, I mean, for a general rule for people, but once, we started, proving we could get the stuff out, they made an exception for us on that.
They should just make tiers of like creators.
Yeah, if you go
like you're
to
a certain tier level, so like
yeah,
like you're trusted, like a trusted creator who will get his stuff distributed. So
I found Indiegogo very amenable. I mean, I don't want to speak for them,
Yeah.
but they're enthusiastic because they were, they were always the Kmart to Kickstarter's,
Target.
Yeah. And we started, taking a chance on them. They took a chance on us. It paid off. They got, Kickstarter, they've got a freaking political commissar.
Yeah.
That's their job.
We're actually seriously considering going just Indiegogo too.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the model is, it's, if you do look at everything, it is far superior in the sense of that, you can continue even after you're fulfilled.
Lower. I think Kickstarter takes 10%.
Well, they take 10%, but if you don't, if you don't get funded, I think doesn't Indiegogo still take something if you don't get funded? Because they process some stuff, but then they refund people.
There's a processing fee, but you just said that thing is something super achievable. You said it at $500, so then you're definitely going to get everything. And there's also another one where I think you get it no matter what. Flexible funding and another one, but I mean, Indiegogo, they've just been great with us. They realize the thing with all these these SJW bullies, you just got to stand up to them. There's nothing to them. I mean, people have thrown away millions of dollars kowtowing to these awful, evil people.
I mean, there's something in me, in my nature or the way I was raised. I just don't want to appease these people. I don't want to, some of my best friends are Albanian, to try to get favor with them. And it's just, I don't do it. I've never been able to schmooze. I've never been able to kiss ass. I'm certainly not going to bow down to a bunch of fruit juice drinkers.
And we've seen that it doesn't matter if you bow down.
Waste of time.
You step out of line for 1 second, and they're trying to make you homeless. They're trying to make you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's you're here to.
So
I'm sorry. What were you saying, Chuck?
You apologize. You're showing them your throat.
Yeah.
No, you just gotta. You turn your head and you keep moving. Yep. It's like any business. You don't like my product? Well, you don't have to shop here. Go shop where you want to shop, but don't interfere with my store.
That's the other thing that's so good about crowdfunding. And feel free to cut me off. I know you guys have a certain time length for your videos. Is that with the direct market, there's a limited amount of shelf space, and there's non-returnability for almost everything. That's why I went so hard on the paint over certain creators and certain decisions, because I said, you are a dead space. You are necrotic tissue. Like, when your book gets out there, Yas Queen, you did it, but nobody's buying that. And there's a book that could have sold there. Yeah. It could have kept that store in business.
Yep.
If you notice, there are the cringiest Kickstarters and Indiegogos in the world. I don't say anything about them because they're not taking up any shelf space.
Exactly.
They're not, non-returnable. And there still haven't been any huge crowdfunding that didn't deliver. There have been small ones of 7. It's funny to say 20,000 is small now, but they deliver. So there's really no harm, no foul. You put out anything, and it's good to go. But God, I'm just so excited about it. I could talk about this forever.
Well, I can't. I got to catch a flight tomorrow morning, guys. So I got to roll.
Yeah, take the night cool. So.
All right.
Yeah, Billy's been muscling through. Go to the doctor, God damn it! Jeez,
I've been sick in 3 years.
Unreal.
Well, thanks again, guys.
You guys are awesome, guys. The best of luck. Continue. Looking forward to having you guys back on. Maybe when we debut my cover, we'll have it on, and this is great. I'm so happy for all you guys. You guys are all my friends, and it's.
Oh, and are we gonna sell the?
You guys, I really am.
You want to sell the cover as a perk tier?
Yeah, let's do that and give some of it to the campaign. Sure.
That thing will go really quickly.
Well, thank you, Nile. Thank you, Billy.
Oh, thanks, Chuck. You guys are always welcome. Appreciate it. And Zach, I actually would, we got to set something up because I want to continue just talking about crowdfunding with you because my adrenaline's starting to pump now.
Yeah, it is for me too.
We can stay for another time because I've got opinions. But anywho, everyone have a great night. We'll be back next week. Keep an eye out for the promos. Our next show will be Tuesday at 9 p.m. And yes, thank you, Graham. Thank you, Chuck. Zach, teen sensation Billy Tucci. You'll never age, my friend.
Gentlemen,
Great to see you. Graham, great to see you. And Zach,
Yes.
Semper Fi.
Yeah.
Zach,
And Graham, if you do run into Blevins, he's a producer of the show. Great guy, fun to hang out with.
Yep.
And have a good time. All right, everyone. We'll see you later.
guys. Have a great
Thank
night.
you. Yep.
Good night.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into Crowdfunding Comics. We look forward to hanging out with all of our crowdfunding fans every time we go live. And don't forget to click the link below and subscribe to our channel. And there's a little bell, you may want to hit that too. This way you get all the great notifications when we go live and when we upload some awesome content. You want to follow us? Sure, go right ahead at Twitter at CrowdFundComics with an X, Instagram Crowdfunding Comics, and Facebook at Crowdfunding Comics. Till next time, crowdfunding fans, we'll see you soon.